chose for oh so long. Every summer in your favorite bar, we're determined to keep going strong. Nothing in the world can stop our song.
So whether you have season tickets or saw a show with friends,
we have the info and the scoop on all the latest trends. Gather around, we won't be a bore. We promise to have you coming back for more. In the meantime, we'll say what we mean.
Welcome back to In the Meantime with John Saunders. I'm John Saunders, and this is In the Meantime. And in case you're wondering, I still have no idea what I'm doing. Today's very special guest is my dear friend and the incredibly talented Elizabeth Ward Land. You'll remember her from last summer's incredible performance as Norma Desmond in Sunset Boulevard. She sat down with me for an amazing conversation about her journey to Broadway and beyond. It was an amazing talk, and I'm so happy to share this interview with you all. Okay, as always, when you mention Elizabeth's name when donating to the Bright Future Fund, half of that money will go directly to Liz. Now's the time to hit that like and subscribe button. Okay, everybody, thank you so much, and enjoy In the Meantime with Elizabeth Ward Land. Liz Ward Land, welcome to In the Meantime. Thanks for being here today.
I'm thrilled. It's such a busy day. I didn't know if I could fit it in with all my busy life right now.
I know. I feel so busy too. My schedule right now, running back and forth from the kitchen to the living room, is absolutely intense. And then add in trips to the porch, and it's just I'm overwhelmed.
I know.
I'm overwhelmed.
I know. Well, and we were thinking of maybe going to the grocery store, but I don't know if I have to today. So we may wait and put that on another day where we really need it.
All right, Liz Ward Land, where are you from originally?
I grew up in Denver.
Denver. Okay.
I was born in Rochester, Minnesota, which is a lot. My dad did his internship at the Mayo Clinic. So I was born there. I'm in the middle of 5 kids, but I grew up in Denver. Yeah, Denver. And my parents were from Puebla, which is about 100 miles south of Denver. Mm-hmm. So they were either second or third generation Coloradoans.
Okay. And then they landed permanently in Denver.
They landed permanently in Denver. And then when I was 18, my senior year of high school, actually, my father was the dean at the University of Colorado Medical School. So he had moved into administrative medicine. And my senior year of high school, then Governor Clinton of Arkansas recruited my father to come to Little Rock and kind of revamp the Arkansas health system, which that's the way he had done in Colorado. So March of my senior year of high school, my dad started a new job in Little Rock, Arkansas. We all stayed and finished school. But I took it very personally. My father was ruining my life. Yes. Didn't he know that I was the star of everything? And how dare he make us move? I ended up staying the summer because I was playing Reno Sweeney in the citywide production, high school production of Anything Goes. Oh. All the Denver high schools you would audition, and they would have the big all-city musical.
Oh, cool.
And I was playing Reno Sweeney at the age of 17, and I stayed and lived with one of my aunts to finish it out because I didn't want to go to Little Rock, Arkansas. Oh. Anyway, my younger 2 sisters went to junior high and high school in Little Rock, and my mother is still there.
In Little Rock, okay.
Mm-hmm. We all thought she would eventually go back to Colorado, but she has stayed in Little Rock.
Wow.
And so none of us have a real attachment to Little Rock because we were kind of half Colorado, half Little Rock, and then so I have 2 siblings that are on the West Coast. I'm on the East Coast, and I have a sister at 79th and West End, my sister Amy, who is up in Kinderhook, who I lived with last year when I was doing.
Also lives in Kinderhook, which is so wild.
Yeah, and then we have a sister right in the middle of the country in Bloomington, Indiana. So
I love Bloomington, Indiana.
Yeah,
what a fun town that is.
Really fun town, but nobody's near my mother. So my poor mother has been pretty isolated, but she seems to be okay. We're all rolling with it.
I want to dig right into your singing life. I know you started singing in school. You're from a very musical family. Mm-hmm. But life in school, I know there was some church singing and then obviously into school. Can you walk us through that?
Yes. There was very little church singing, actually. We grew up Catholic, and I remember auditioning for the choir, and I was told I was too loud. Oh. I was refused. by the Catholic
Oh.
Church. Thus ending my spiritual life there. No, I'm teasing. My mom was a piano teacher. Her mother
Okay.
had been a piano teacher. And so we all took piano. That was our fundamental. And then in 4th grade of my elementary school, my elementary school happened to have an oboe. And so they went around to all the teachers and said, who's musically inclined? And my teacher said me, because I was always singing and dancing and, acting. I was very much still me, just, weighed about 30 pounds and was this tall.
Right.
And so I started playing the oboe. And for some reason I was very good, just kind of innately very good at the oboe. So my whole growing up, even through early college, I was as much playing the oboe as I was singing and dancing on stage. They were very split for me.
Yeah.
And when I first went to college, I went to college to play the oboe because I didn't really know what I wanted to do. I didn't know that you could be an actor. I mean, I didn't know anybody who was a professional actor. I didn't know that that was something that you could go study and be.
Sure.
But I knew that you could go to a conservatory and try to get into an orchestra or teach or that sort of thing. So I kind of went that route because as I said, I was as much doing instrumental music as I was singing. So in high school, I was kind of doing everything in the arts.
Yeah.
All the starring in the shows, singing in all the choirs, but playing the oboe, which is like the hardest instrument in the world.
It's amazing.
And it's, you're basically waiting to have an aneurysm because you have to have the reed. There's a tiny little area where your air goes in. So you have a lot of pressure on your brain. So that probably, and all the drugs I've done has not been good, but I'm hanging in there. And then my freshman year of college, truthfully, well, also for the oboe, you have to make your own reeds. And your sound is completely dependent on how good of a reed you have. So I'll try to wrap this up. But basically, I did not want to make reeds. I couldn't make them for the life of me. And I was extremely boy crazy, and I wanted to be up on stage because I was playing in the pit for these shows, and I was like, oh, I sing better than that,
Right.
So I ended up switching my major and becoming a drama major because I'm an ancient person, and in my era, there really were no musical theater degrees. I think Carnegie Mellon had just started one, and maybe Cincinnati, CCM. But in general, you were either in the conservatory or you were a drama major. So I switched my major to drama. I still had to play the oboe for the rest of college because I was getting a little money to play the oboe. And I got my degrees in drama, and then I got my master's in acting, but still having all the whole musical background. So it's it was a perfect mix leading into a musical theater degree because I had such strong training and I could read music extremely well.
Yeah.
And I had great practice discipline and I could really play the piano. So it's helped in ways that, I can work on a score myself, or if I get a piece of music that I have to learn for an audition, I don't have to ask for any help because I can do it myself, and I can help other people.
Yeah.
So it's all kind of was divinely, put into place to have the life that I had. Basically, I wanted to be Barbra Streisand, but I didn't know how to be that. I graduated from college in 1983. I get my master's by 1985.
Okay.
And things are beginning to change. We now have Cats, and we have Joseph and the Amazing we basically have Andrew Lloyd Webber. We have the British Invasion.
Right.
So and by the time I moved to New York, Cliff Notes, I moved to Washington, D.C. because I'm in love with someone, and he's moving to Washington, D.C. to do an internship at the Arena Stage. So that's how I ended up going to Washington, D.C. because I always followed boys my entire life, completely boy crazy, and admittedly so. But one of the dinner theaters that I worked at while I was there became Troika.
Okay.
It was those guys. Okay. So they ran the Harlequin Dinner Theater, where I worked, and they were sending out a bus and truck of Singing in the Rain. One of the first bus and trucks.
Yeah.
So we played all of the big houses, even though it was a non-union tour. We played all of, so this is 1987 into 88. And I am Kathy Selden in Singing in the Rain. By the time I get off the road from that, Les Mis has opened in New York, and it was a perfect fit for me because I had all the classical training, but I loved to sing pop.
Yeah.
So you had to have a little bit of a pop lilt. I had one audition for Les Mis and they sent me out on the road, and the rest, as we say, is history. Spent 2 years in Les Mis, paid off all my college and graduate school. And when I get off the road in Les Mis, I go straight into City of Angels. Same casting person.
City of Angels on Broadway.
Mm-hmm.
So the Broadway debut was City of Angels.
Mm-hmm. And it was like a month after I left the Les Mis tour, because Andy Zerman, who cast for Johnson Lift then, who was casting Les Mis, knew kind of what I could do, because we had become friendly by then, and he's like, they were looking for someone to cover Gabby Bobby, so you had to have really, really low notes.
Yeah.
So again, just the right kind of pocket for me, because I could sing really, really low. I don't know why.
Yeah.
I could. And so I got City of Angels.
Yet you could belt very, very high.
I could belt high, and I had a high fluty head voice. So I had a weird voice.
Yeah.
I had a very unique voice.
I think it's one of the most unique voices in the business. I mean, I remember the very first time I heard you sing, I was like, that's awesome.
Somehow I just needed time from what was to be. It's not like me to hold somebody down, but I was tossed high by love, almost never came down, only to land here where love's no longer found, where I'm no longer bound, and I can let go now.
And I've heard several styles now too.
Yeah, and I think that I was frustrated by it early on because no one could place me. Nobody, no one really kind of knew what to do with me.
Yeah.
Which is why my early career I had so much understudying, because I could sing soprano and I could belt, and I could be a leading lady or I could be a comedian.
Right.
But so, it worked in my favor, and now I think my versatility is the thing that has given me a long longevity in show business.
Absolutely. That versatility is so amazing too, because you've gone on to perform. So Broadway was, the first one was City of Angels.
City of Angels. And then right after City of Angels, they were sending out big concerts of Andrew Lloyd Webber music, the music of Andrew Lloyd Webber. And so that was my next big job. And we toured the world with Michael Crawford. There were 6 women and 6 men, and we did all of Andrew Lloyd Webber's stuff with a huge orchestra on stage. It's one of the greatest jobs in the world. And I sing a variety of things. For a chunk of time I sang, my big solo was I Don't Know How to Love Him.
Okay.
And I duetted on All I Ask of You. But then by the time I really was working with Michael Crawford, I was Don't Cry For Me Argentina was my big specialty number.
Oh, okay.
I opened act 2. They did the Evita Overture and then me, and then they kind of evolved. Then by then it was all Phantom. The whole second half of the second act was Phantom.
Okay.
There was Sunset Boulevard had not debuted by then.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, that was a little bit later.
That was before it. It was right before it.
I don't know why I'm frightened. I know my way around here. The cardboard trees, the painted seas, the sounds here. Yes, a world to read
in overcrowded hallways. The atmosphere is thrilling here as always. Feel the early morning madness. Feel the magic in the making. Why everything's as if we never said goodbye. I've spent
And then I came
so
home. I did a
many
little bit of
mornings
regional theater, and then I did Passion.
Passion, right?
I was covering Passion. I covered Marin, and then there were two other women in the show that plays a mother and a mistress. So there were only four women in the show: Fosca, Clara, and then two ensemble women. And I was kind of an offstage cover.
But you didn't
And I
cover
went on to the
Fosca.
other two. No, Marin was never on, and I didn't cover Fosca.
Okay.
I covered Marin, but she
Yeah.
was never out.
Wow. A show that's not talked about a lot though, and it's a
Yeah.
beautiful show. It's such a good
It is a
score.
beautiful show. I have gotten an appreciation for it. In hindsight, I remember when I first got the job, and I was sitting the first night of my job. I was sitting in the audience, looking at my score while I was watching it, seeing because you're trying to train and look and see what you have to do, and people were just walking out. Audience members just walking out. People hated it.
Yeah.
It won the Pulitzer, it won the Tony, but the audiences in general did not like it.
And it was one of the first shows that they made a video of. I mean, you could watch
They
the
made a
whole
video.
thing.
I am not in the video. Me, Chuck Cooper, who was also an offstage cover, and a guy named Gibby Brand. We were the three offstage covers, and they couldn't afford to put us in the video.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
I'm not in the video. Anyway, it was a great job. It was great people.
Yeah.
And then my next Broadway was Scarlet Pimpernel,
Okay, which
I stayed a long time in the Scarlet.
I know, and I'm kind of a mega fan of
I
Scarlet
know,
Pimpernel.
people are. That's nice.
Yeah, I love it. And I saw all three versions. And I probably saw the show a dozen times, I would say.
That's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah, like I saw Carly's opening night. So I absolutely loved it. And you did all three versions, and we talked to George Dvorsky a lot
Yeah.
about that
Georgie was in
process.
version number one. Mhm.
Version number one, but you were in version 2 and 3, which was performing and rehearsing at the same time.
Yeah, two was rehearsing while we were doing version number one at night. It was crazy.
Right.
And I got married at the same time. I was original cast.
Uh-huh.
I actually had done the original workshop of Scarlet Pimpernel,
Wow.
and I was kind of the only one that they kind of caps through the whole thing. I had a small role. I was Marie, who becomes Madame Tussaud, and the principal role, but small, but nice. And so Ken joins the show probably like March or April. We opened in November of '97. Okay, we got terrible reviews. Douglas got great reviews. The show in general got very bad reviews, but the word of mouth was building. And it's hard to remember, but this was early days of internet fan clubs. So, the internet starts taking off like 95. Like by 95, most people have a computer.
Yeah.
And so that fans have a way to connect now instantly. Whereas in the old days, there was a fan club, and you would write in, and someone from the office, I guess, handled the pictures and stuff. But by the time Pimpernel, it's early days of the online fan group. And they single-handedly kept the show alive. I mean, we think. But we get the 4 Tony nominations, and they decide our producers had very deep pockets, but we're getting less and less deep the longer the show ran.
Mm-hmm.
So they decided to keep the show open. But we were basically told when we didn't win anything that we were closing, that they had to close the show. They just could not keep it, even though people were loving it, but they just weren't selling enough tickets. So Ken and I decided, he had asked me to get to marry him, and we decided, let's just do it this summer, because if we wait any longer, one of us is going to get a job and we're not going to be able to do it in the way we want it. So let's just do it this summer because we know the show's going to close. Let's take the summer off and just have the wedding. So we do. We find our place that we're going to do it. When I'm never one to, I'm not a girly girl, so I didn't want to have that big dress. I was wearing a big dress every night, so I didn't want to have any of that. Didn't need to walk down an aisle. We weren't going to have it in a church. So we found the restaurant where we wanted to get married and planned it for Sunday night, July 26th. Well, by about the end of June, the company gets gathered and we all like, oh, we're getting our closing notice. You know, they make the announcement. Okay, everybody come down to the stage, you know, over the loud closing, you know, you go down.
Let's go get fired.
Go get fired. So that's what you do. You go stand on the stage and you get fired. And it's awful. We go to the stage and they say, this is an unprecedented move, but we have been bought by new producers. Madison Square Gardens. This guy named Dave Checketts loved the show, and he decided to become the lead producer on it, and they were going to revamp the show. So we're like, okay, what does that mean? Well, we go back into rehearsal. They let Terry Mann and Christina Andreas go. They hire Rachel York and Rex Smith.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to have 3 new leads, and they fire the director, Peter Hunt, and hire Bobby Longbottom to come on board and completely redo the show. So we not only don't close, but we are going to go back into rehearsal and make the show different. Okay, so everybody's like, all right. I mean, it can never happen in the economic times now because the money they spent. We got a brand new paycheck to rehearse the show, and then our other Broadway paycheck for the show at night. Okay, so, and Ken is in the show. So we have 4 Broadway paychecks.
Oh my God.
But it was very confusing. So we're in rehearsal all day long, and the show is becoming better. Like Bobby was extremely smart in what he did. He reshaped songs. He changed where they came in the show. The narrative.
He put storybook in the beginning.
So much, and that's the version that everybody now does.
Yeah.
So that version really did become better, but it was very complicated with people who had been let go. Some of the ensemble members, they were changing that. What they would do, they wouldn't have some of their step outs. It was very complicated, and I was getting married on July 26th. So, and by this time, everybody has bought their hotel rooms. We've put our deposit down. But the show, and it was a 7:00 wedding on Sunday night, but we only have a 3:00 matinee. So we said, okay, well, let's just still get married. So I asked for the day off, but I only have one understudy, and she's supposed to go on for someone else who was, I guess, taking care of her father. The same girl covered me and another character in the show. And that woman would not give the day up. So I did a matinee on my wedding day. So we'd always joke about it that, you know, okay, for a girl who grew up wanting to be on Broadway and marry the man of her dreams, that was not a bad day.
And now, a word from our president. Paul Colarusso, our board president, currently quarantining in New York City, is here once again to answer your burning questions. Paul, with theater currently unavailable to the masses, what are you doing to entertain yourself?
Movies.
I hear that. Thank you, Paulie.
Total time in Scarlet Pimpernel, 2 years, 3 years?
3.5. Well, then I did the tour of it.
Oh, you toured it as well?
Toured it as well.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that you did the tour.
Yeah, we did the tour. Ken and I both did the tour, and Douglas opened that tour.
Okay.
And after the Los Angeles run, when Douglas left, Ken and I left. I just couldn't do it anymore.
Yeah.
And that's why then we were in LA for 7 years. So we just stayed in LA. That's how we got to LA.
Yeah. Because when you and I met, you were kind of just finishing up in LA.
I just come back. I just came back to the city. And I took the Chitty Chitty Bang Bang tour because I needed to kind of get back in the theater world.
Okay.
And that was the same year that Ken got the Legally Blonde tour.
Yeah, I remember you were both on the road.
We were very fortunate when we knew we had to come back to New York. We didn't want to. We loved LA, but we knew that we needed the pop of that big paycheck. So we came back and we hit it hard, and we were both very fortunate and landed those tours. And so that was, yes, I met you very early on it after our return from LA.
Your New York City comeback.
Yeah, my New York City comeback. Yeah, as the
but then after Chitty, you went on to like another huge.
Then
round
I did
of stuff.
Memphis. Then I did
Memphis.
Scandalous. Then I did Amazing Grace. Yeah.
Yeah, you were the first replacement for Cass Morgan, right?
For her, well, I wasn't playing the mother. I mean, I was the ensemble track then.
Okay.
That was really one of my first ensemble tracks. But I had a big disappointment with Sister Act. You know, I had done all the out of town. When I was in LA, it's just such a side track, but in LA, they were workshopping Sister Act, the musical Sister Act, and they were going to do it at Pasadena Playhouse for 4.5 months, and then they were going to do it in Atlanta at the Alliance Theater for 4 months, and I was the Mother Superior. And then when it came to Broadway, I couldn't even get seen for my role.
Really?
And I fell really. This was after Chitty. And it was a huge disappointment for me. So when I got offered Memphis, I was like, okay, well, I'd never really done ensemble in New York. And I thought, well, you either want to stay in show business, because I loved the people. I loved the life of show business. It was the only thing that I had ever really done. And I had a ball.
Yeah.
That ensemble of Memphis was so fun. It was wonderful people. It was fun.
Great show.
It was nice to have a job. I had no pressure in the job because I only had my responsibility for it. And I wasn't an understudy. I understudied the mother, but the mother was not a hard sing for me. It wasn't, you know, I didn't have to live like, you know, worried about going on. So I stayed in Memphis till that closed. And then I got Scandalous the day after Memphis closed.
Wow.
I've just been a spoiled brat cat, basically. when I have to talk about my career, I realize how lucky I have been.
Yeah. I mean, you've just done some amazing stuff. I was able to see you play Mama in Memphis.
I know you did. I know you did.
I loved Memphis. What a special, fantastic show that was.
I know.
That was really cool. So then Scandalous, that wasn't
Scandalous was a disaster. Although I loved Scandalous. I love Kathy Lee.
Yeah.
I loved that whole experience, but we were trying to open during Hurricane Sandy.
Yep. What a mess.
It was a big, fat, sad mess. So
Big
that
mess.
closed, I think we ran a month.
Yeah.
And again, everyone come down to the stage. Report to the stage. You're putting on your makeup and you're like, crap. Go down. Everybody's in their wig caps. We're so sorry. We're gonna have to close the show. So then you have to go do the show.
Right. Inside half hour. Yeah.
Inside half hour, and then you have to go do the show. It's just, it's so mean.
That's awful. And then there was also Amazing Grace.
It was Amazing Grace. And Amazing Grace was a long saga for me. I did 6 years of development of Amazing Grace.
Wow.
Yeah, all the workshops. I didn't go to good speed with it. I think I was working at the time doing something else. But we did a big out-of-town tryout for that, like 3 months in Chicago with that one. And then they were just waiting for a theater to open. And finally the Nederlander opened. And we went in very fast. No group sales in place. And Hamilton was opening. Hamilton opened like 2 weeks after we did, a week after we did, I think.
Wow.
On Broadway. They had already done the production out of the pub, but nobody could talk about anything other than Hamilton that summer.
Yeah. It was
And
like
I really was hoping that Amazing Grace would find its legs. It just didn't. But again, we opened in July, and they kept that thing open, and then middle October, ladies and gentlemen, please come down. Oh, gosh. You're like, seriously, you're like this. Oh. On stage. Amazing Grace. Done.
Oh, time to get fired. Half hour. Come to the stage.
Have a good show.
Tell us about your role, originating the role of the Evil Queen.
Oh, Eva Queen. Yes. So that was in our Los Angeles days.
Okay.
And Disneyland decided that they wanted to do a live action version of Snow White. So they hired Eric Schaefer, who used to run the Signature Theater, and just a dream team. Jonathan Tunick orchestrated it. Karma Camp choreographed it. The world's best designers and everything. And they had this nationwide casting went out. And I got called in for the Evil Queen. And I was like, yeah, I'm going to get this. I just knew I was going to get it. I was like, who is meaner than me? No one. And so I went to the audition, and I remember them just kind of looking at me like, who are you? Like, what? Because I always have my own version of things, which I totally believe in. And I just am going to do it my way, because if you're going to hire me, you're going to hire my version of it.
Yes.
So I got it. And it was really the key to us being able to stay in LA, because it was like having a Broadway job there.
Yeah.
The only drag is you had to drive to Disneyland every day, down the 5. And what should normally be like a 37-minute drive sometimes took 2 hours. And I mean, I'd be in tears by the end. Earlier,
You mentioned you always wanted to be Barbara Streisand.
Yeah. Oh.
But instead, tell us that story.
Okay, so I spent 2 weeks with Barbara Streisand, and it was 2007, summer of 2007, and she was getting ready to mount one of her tours, and she had not sung in a long time. She hadn't toured in about 10 years, and they were going to go all over America, the big cities in America, and go overseas also. So I get a call from Richard J. Alexander, who had mounted my company of Les Mis, and we had stayed friendly, and he was directing her tour. I was up at Sacramento Music Circus, and I was doing a little night music up there, and actually Ken was visiting me. I think he'd come up to see the show, and for a long time Ken and I shared a cell phone, because we're so old that, like, in the early days, nobody knew if this cell phone thing was going to catch on. Like, are we going to need more than one? I don't know. Well, we're always together. We'll just have one cell phone. So a lot of people still had the old original number, which became Ken's cell phone. So Ken's cell phone rings, and it's Richard J. Alexander trying to get a hold of me. So he's like, well, actually, it's Ken, but she's right here. Let me give it to her. So he went in the bathroom and was getting ready. And Richard J. asked me to come and spend 2 weeks helping Barbara Streisand mount her tour. And I said, well, what will I have to do? And he said, well, like, when she doesn't want to sing, you'll just go up and sing. Like, we'll want to keep her sing, but you'll just go up and sing with the orchestra. And I was like, in front of Barbara Streisand? I'm going to have to sing Barbara Streisand's songs in front of Barbara Streisand? He's like, well, probably. I was like, I don't think I can fit it in, because I was getting ready to star in Sister Act.
Yeah.
And I wanted to have some time off. I was going to go visit my folks anyway. So I said no. And I hung up, and Ken came out of the bathroom. He was like, what did he want? And I told him, and he said, I never tell you what to do, but you're an idiot if you don't go. This is your dream. You love her. You know all of her songs. And I was like, I don't want to sing in front of Barbara Streisand. What if she doesn't like my voice? What if she doesn't like me? He's like, well, so then you face that fear. So anyway, I called Richard J. back, and he was laughing. He said, I thought you might call me back. So I spent 2 weeks with Barbara Streisand. And what I mainly did is truly, when she was tired, when she had sung enough or whatever, then I would go up and sing. Or so she rented out a sound studio on the Sony lot. And she flew in 70 musicians from all over the world so that she could practice. So they built her set in the Sony sound stage that was going to look just like her tour set. And every day for 2 weeks, I would go. I kind of never knew what I was going to have to do that day. But sometimes, like, they wanted to see what it would look like if she walked down the ramp singing Where or When, and then, ended up center stage going into another song. So I would do that, and she would watch. Or they would practice some of the titles. She had a big jumbotron, because the one thing she said, I said, I have to have a teleprompter, because she couldn't remember her lyrics, or didn't want to be worried about remembering lyrics. So we had practiced with a teleprompter. And also she had Il Divo were her special guests. You know who Il Divo were? So they were 4 opera singers from all over the world. And they were going to sing Evergreen with her in all of their different languages. So I had to learn all of Evergreen in those languages. And they were going to do Music of the Night with her and Somewhere. Well, Il Divo had not come prepared didn't know their harmonies that they were going to be singing with Barbara Streisand. So she sang with them one day and said, I'm not rehearsing with them again until they know what they're doing. So most of the time I ended up rehearsing with Il Divo so that they did not get fired.
Oh, wow.
And anyway, and then on the last day, so I was getting ready to go do Sister Act, so I couldn't come. They wanted me to come back east and because they were going to open the tour in New York, but I couldn't because I was starring in my own show. But the sound guy, unbeknownst to me, had been recording everything that I had ever sung in those 2 weeks. They were archiving everything.
Mm-hmm.
And he handed me a stack of CDs of me singing with this 70-piece orchestra. And it was really, it changed my life because I was like, oh, I really can sing.
All the things that I've said here before, and you'll pray that your love, whatever he does, will come back and be the boy that he was.
And it's what really propelled me to then do a CD.
Yeah.
Is I was like, oh, this would, maybe somebody would listen to this. And it gave me a confidence as a singer with my unique voice, my weird voice. I was like, okay, I'm just going to sing like me from now on. You know, I'm not even going to try to pretend to be somebody else. And it was really, it was such a great gift. It was also like the hardest job. I was nervous every day.
I would have dropped dead. I wouldn't have been able to do it.
The very first day, I'm up there singing. She was trying to do, they had put together Carefully Taught from South Pacific with Children Will Listen, and it was a new arrangement. So we were working out, the orchestra was playing through it for the first time. I was singing it through it. And in walks Barbara Streisand with the entire entourage, all the dogs, all the bichons, James Brolin, the masseuses, everybody. And I'm just like, oh. So, you know, I finish the song and she goes, "Ooh, pretty voice. Do I have to sing that last note, that high note at the end?" And I was like, well, I'm just reading off the music. You're Barbara Streisand. You can do whatever you want. I'm just doing what they told me. She's like, you know, so Barbara Streisand. Then I was like, okay, so I have to sing. So I just had some really funny things happen.
Yeah. It's a really just such a fun career, you know. But you've had a lot of success in television and film too. You've also branched out.
So then the TV stuff, then started really happening. I mean, I just kind of chipped away at it, and so that's been nice. And I it's a totally different world. I mean, I will always be a theater rat, and I think I come most alive on stage. I enjoy the telling of the story from beginning to end every night, but I also like the fastness of TV. I've always memorized easily, and that's really the key for doing television, because you can't look like you're acting, and so you really have to know your lines. And it's really key in order to book them. Yeah. And the more and more, by the time we got back from LA, there was so many things shooting in New York, and they were more receptive to theater people coming in and auditioning than I found that they were in LA. So our timing was good on that front too. And I've had some fun things.
And you're one of those people who, so many of us in the business, we just love to work.
I just love it. Yeah, I like all of it. I like the vacuuming of the backstage.
Listen, that brings me to you coming to the Mac-Haydn last year. I think I called you in like October last year, and I said, I'm thinking of picking something, and I want you to do it. And you were like, get out of here. You came to the Mac-Haydn to play Norma Desmond. I almost
said no to that because I was scared of it too. But.
And I think we have Ken to thank again, right?
Yeah, and some other people, but also me. I think I was finally at a place in my personal growth where I was just like, you have to find ways to make yourself proud. Yeah. And you have to find you have to get out of your own way. And I think some of the it's a constant, I just have to, it's a constant reminder for myself is to get out of my own way, is to allow myself to succeed. And it's easier to say no because you're scared that you're going to fail. But if you allow yourself to succeed, you almost always will.
Yeah. I had the best time last year working on that show with you.
Well, so did I. It was magical for me.
And the theater, you know, the kids, the acting company just loved you. And there was a day where I forget who it was, but they came running into the office and they were like, Norma Desmond is vacuuming the backstage area. And I was like, what?
You and Monica were so mad at me.
With one smile, I'm the girl next door. All the love that you've hungered for. When I speak, it's with my soul. I can play any role. No words can tell the stories my eyes tell. Watch me when I frown. You can't write that down. You know I'm right. It's there in black and white. With one look my way, you'll hear what I say. Yes, with one look.
It was such a special show for us to do, and you know, you were just so incredible in the role, and you know, I loved your I loved everything about you being there, and I think you really kind of got what you get what we're doing there at the theater, you know.
I love it.
In the meantime, because that's what we do now, I want to dig in a little bit on your award-winning Linda Ronstadt show. But talk to me about Linda a little bit and how she shaped you. The show was brilliant, and you won.
I won the Bistro Award.
The Bistro, right?
So, in kind of the same vein of trying to make myself, trying to force myself to get out of my own way and make myself proud. I kind of, what I kept asking the universe for was a job that kind of showed all the different sides of me. Well, I didn't know that I was going to have to make it myself, but I ended up, my friend Alan Maroka, who I had done a show with, who he's been on Sesame Street for 25 years. He's one of the most wonderful people in the world. He and I had lunch one day, true story, and he just said, we're going to do a show. Let's talk about all the kind of songs. I don't know what it's going to be about, but talk about all the kind of music that you like to sing. So I list all the kind of music that I like to sing, and in every category, there was Linda Ronstadt. I mean, in all of the genres that I felt like really spoke to me, Linda Ronstadt had huge success in. If I was going to do a show, I would have definitely thought I would do it about Barbra Streisand because she's a lifelong hero. But it really ended up being Linda Ronstadt. And so through some development and through a lot of very talented friends, I developed the show. And we started it 3 weeks after I closed Norma Desmond. So last year I was prepping Norma Desmond and my Linda Ronstadt show. Could not be more diverse singing. And then through some incredible word of mouth and the support of the Green Room 42, Daniel Dunlow, who's
he's amazing
alumni, they just kept asking us back. And it's a big show. I have a full band, and then I have two friends that sing with me, a man and a woman, because Linda Ronstadt loved to sing harmony, as do I.
Yeah.
I grew up in a choir. I learned to sing harmony with my sisters. Some of my happiest moments in my life are when my voice is nestled in a chord. There's something about it that just sits in my soul. So I dreamed big, and my team came through with me, and then it just kind of snowballed. And then we did 3 days. We did a date in September. We did 3 days in January, and then we win the Bistro Award. And then I accepted the Bistro Award March 9th, and then left the next morning to go do Memphis. I was supposed to go do Play Mama in Memphis, down in North Carolina. Yeah. And I was there like 3 days, and they sent us home, and the world shut down. And during this year of doing it, and especially after I won the Bistro Award, I had a lot of outreach from cabarets all over the world and ships, cruise ships, etc., to try to, inquiries about booking my show, which of course is now all dead.
Right.
So when the pandemic hit, I was upset. I mean, I was freaked out and mad and scared about going outside, but I was also extremely disappointed because this thing that I had created for myself and that had succeeded had now hit a brick wall of which I had no control over. And it was completely inappropriate for me to do any sort of outreach to any of these places because everybody has been decimated by it. So after I got over that, my pity party, I decided that I will just keep working on it. And I will try to find some ways to make it smaller because obviously if this goes on longer, I'm not going to be able to have that many people on stage with me,
Right.
spitting and respirating. So when this paper mill has a lovely restaurant, Paper Mill Playhouse is out here in Millburn, New Jersey, very near me. And they have a lovely restaurant attached to them, the Carriage House, who has begun some outdoor dining, socially distanced. But there's a beautiful creek that runs along the backside of Paper Mill, and they have set up a stage and they have done some outreach to some of the local artists who live in the area and have nothing to do. And so they're doing live entertainment on Thursdays and Saturdays. So I'm doing this coming Thursday and I'm doing September 3rd. And I have made my husband learn the guitar book. Well, he's playing 6 of the songs and begrudgingly, but since he's already in my bubble, I'm making him do it, and we've had fun. Silver linings and everything. And maybe this is a silver lining of me. It's not the way I prefer to have this show go, but
Sure.
if it's a way for me to do it.
This is just something many people have been wondering. Who was your favorite understudy that you were ever performed with?
John Saunders. I have pictures of us in our outfits.
That was like one of the best weekends of my life.
You
I was
were
like, oh my God.
fabulous.
And I was so nervous.
Well, how can you not be?
I was terrified. Well, because you were like, don't mess up.
So mean to you.
You were.
I was strict. So I had to be strict with you.
You were very strict. But listen,
You were wonderful. You succeeded.
who are you quarantining with?
Penland. We are Cat Snake Marie, Mike, and Edith Thomas.
Those are the cats. Quarantine couture. What is your typical daily fashion?
Oh God, I dream of my clothes. I have worn cut-off jeans and some semblance of a t-shirt. Today I put on jewelry.
Oh.
I looked at my closet the other day and I was like, I didn't wear any of my cute summer things this year.
Talk to me about what you've been eating. Have you been having some good cooking? What's your...
We just make all the things that we already knew how to make. And we've eaten a lot of leftovers. We're being very good about just trying to buy food and to make sure we eat it and try not to be wasteful.
Yeah.
We did have some Thai food earlier this week. We did take out, and I thought it was like the best thing I've ever eaten. And we've gotten a couple of pizzas. A lot of barbecuing this summer because we have the outdoor space. The outdoor space has saved our life, really.
Oh yeah. What is the one thing you miss the most? If you had to pick one thing that you just, I miss
my friends.
Yeah.
I miss seeing people. I miss being able to go out to dinner or lunch. I love that.
Yeah.
I love the freedom of it. I love the freedom. I realize how much freedom I had in my life.
Yeah. What are your big words of wisdom for
what
us?
are my big words of wisdom?
Yeah. What do you think is going to get it? What can you tell us?
I'm gonna say we will be back. We will gather. We all need each other. We need to sit in a space and see stories told. I think there will be a new appreciation for the artists who have kept everybody sane by the things that we watch at night, all the online content that has been created in the way, and especially the singing. I think it's a human need to sing, to express ourselves in that way. And we all will sing together. I mean, we will be back. It's just going to take a while, much longer than we all thought. So hang in there. I am.
Yeah, we got this.
We got this.
We got this. Thank you, Liz.
Love you.
I love you to bits.
When will I be loved?
And there you have it, my interview with Elizabeth Wardland. Liz, I love you so, and I can't thank you enough for taking the time to sit down with us and share all these amazing stories. Okay, folks, once again, if you mention Elizabeth's name when donating to the Bright Future Fund, half of that money goes directly to her. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel, and in the meantime, stay safe, stay healthy, and stay hopeful.
Yes, with one look, I'll put words to shame. Just one look sets the screen aflame. Silent music starts to play. One tear in my eye makes the whole world cry. With one look, they'll forgive the past. They'll rejoice I've returned at last to my people in the dark, still out there in the dark. Silent music starts to play. With one look, you'll know all you need